And then example number 5. Find the equation of the line tangent to the graph f of x equals the sine x under the square root at x equals pi 6. So once again, dy dx. Derivative of the outside is the square root. So it's 1/2 sine x to the negative 1/2 times the derivative of the inside. Derivative of sine is cosine. So outside times derivative of the inside. And then we are going to plug in pi 6. So pi 6 is 1/2, because pi 6 is really like 30 degrees. So sine of 30 or sine of pi 6 is equal to 1/2. So I have 1/2 to the negative 1/2 times the cosine of pi 6, which is square root 3/2. So we have 1/2. That square root of the 1/2 would kind of be in my denominator. So we need to just clean up all of this. So 2 times 2 would give you 4. The square root of 1 is 1. So really that leaves you with the square root of 3 over 2 times 2, which is 4 square roots of 2. So we don't want a fraction in a fraction, so we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. So you get the square root of 6 over 4. So what that means is that the slope at pi 6 is equal to the square root of 6 over 4. Now we're not done, because this one said find the equation of the line, where the last one said find the slope. The other problem is this only gave me the x value, not the y. So I need to actually find f of pi 6, which is the square root of the sine of pi 6, which is the square root of 1/2, which is 1 over the square root of 2, or root 2 over 2. Thus giving me y minus the square root of 2 over 2 equals the square root of 6 over 4, x minus pi 6. Okay. And then I just want to look at one more example, this time without equations. So we're going back to a table, and this table is a little trickier because now we have f, g, h, and f prime, g prime, h prime, and f double prime. So it says if y equals f of x times g of x has a horizontal tangent at x equals 1. Let's simplify. So in order to do that, we need first our derivative. So that's the first times derivative of the second plus the second times derivative of the first. So y prime equals f times g prime plus g of x times f prime x. Then we're going to find y prime at 1. So f of 1 is 3. G prime of 1 is negative 2. G of 1 is 2. And f prime of 1 is 3. So you have negative 6 plus 6, which is 0. So determine if f of x times g of x making y has a horizontal tangent at 1. The answer to that is yes, because y prime of 1 is equal to 0, which means the slope of the curve at that point is 0. Therefore, we have a horizontal tangent. Number 2, determine if it is decreasing or increasing at 3. So once again, find our y prime. Then we're going to find our y prime at 3. So g of 3 is 3. H prime of 3 is negative 3. G prime of 3 is 2. So y prime of 3 is negative 6. So if the value of the derivative is negative, then the original is decreasing. So we would say that y is decreasing at x equals 3 because y prime of 3 is negative. Find the equation of the tangent line at 2. So once again, we need to find y prime of 2. So g of 2 is 0. F prime of 0 is negative 1. G prime of 2 is 3. So the slope is negative 3. But we only have our x value, so we need to find our y value at 2. So that's the same as saying f of g of 2. So g of 2 is 0. F of 0 is 0. Therefore, y of 2 is 0. And the equation of my tangent line is y minus 0 equals negative 3, x minus 2, or y equals negative 3, x minus 2. And again, you could distribute that if you want. If not, you are done. Okay, example 4. Find f prime of 1, or u prime of 1 for u of x. So u prime of x is equal to 1/2 h of x plus 3 to the negative 1/2 times derivative of the inside, which is h prime x. Derivative of 3 is gone. U prime of 1 is 1/2 h of 1 plus 3 to the negative 1/2 times h prime 1. So h of 1 is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. However, that square root's negative, so that becomes a 1/2. H prime of 1 is negative 4. So a half times a half is a fourth. A fourth times negative 4 is negative 1. Number 5. So y prime is equal to 2 f of x times f prime x. But it asks me to find y double prime. So now this is like your first and this is your second. So it's the first times derivative of the second plus the second times derivative of the first all evaluating it at 1. F of 1 is 3. F double prime of 1 is negative 4. F prime of 1 is 3. And times 2 times 3 again. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 2 is a positive 18. So we get a negative 6. And in number 6, y prime equals ho d high minus high d ho all over ho ho. Evaluating at 2. Gives 8 times 3 over 8 squared. Since that's a minus 0, this is kind of like 8 times 3 over 8 times 8. And make your life easier, cancel those 8s, and you get 3/8. Okay, and 7, u prime x, in this case is h prime square root x times derivative of the inside, which is 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. And then what's really nice about this is the 4. So like the square root of 4 is going to become 2. So this becomes h prime of 2 times, and again we know the square root of 4 is 2, but that's a negative, so it makes it a 1/2 times a 1/2, which is a 1/4. H prime of 2 is 2. So we get 2 times a 4th, which is a 1/2. That's trippy because you saw me writing down below. Okay, so that kind of concludes what we're doing as a group. On Moodle, I did update, make some changes. Your quiz is now moved to Monday instead of tomorrow. So we are going to, for today, complete that 3.6 review handout at the end of your chain rule packet, and then submit that by 7:30 tomorrow morning. And tomorrow we'll go over that. And then I have a breakout chain rule stations. I'll send that breakout stations on Teams here so you can print it. All right.